Marshal of the Indian Air Force, Arjan Singh. He's critically ill after he suffered a cardiac arrest earlier. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the hospital in the capital. Earlier, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also visited him in the hospital. Air Marshal Arjan Singh is the only officer of the Indian Air Force to be promoted to a 5-star rank.
Marshal of the Air Force, Arjan Singh, was taken ill, was suspected to have had a massive heart attack in the morning and was brought to this hospital. And after reaching the hospital, he in fact held the doctor's hand, who has been regularly visiting him at his home, and was responding to treatment. We also have the Chief of the Navy, Chief of Army, and of course the Air Chief, who's been here from the afternoon. All of us are here, just giving all the necessary support to the family. We only hope that he will recover at the earliest. His condition remains critical.
All right, and joining me over the phone line to talk more about this is Air Marshal A.K. Singh. He'll help us elaborate Air Marshal Arjan Singh's contribution towards the Indian Air Force. Thanks so much for speaking to us. If you can just share your first thoughts on his condition and his life and times, your experiences perhaps with him.
Marshal of the Air Force is epitome of a figure which the Indian Air Force, not only the Indian Air Force, the total armed forces, revere. We call their thoughts, and all our prayers go to him for his speedy recovery. And we pray to God that he recovers from this critical condition that he has gone into. He's had a very, very long career in the Indian Air Force and been through a couple of wars. He was the one who guided Indian Air Force through 65 operations, and he was the main architect of the battles that we fought at that time. What more can one say about Marshal of the Indian Air Force, Arjan Singh? Because he is indescribable. He was, or he is, a figure which is revered all over.
Right. Also, sir, you mentioned about his achievements, his long career. Of course, he's 98 now, extremely unwell at this point. First, he was commissioned in 1938, and you also talked to us about his immense contribution to the Air Force in the 1965 war as well. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how perhaps he has been somebody who others in the armed forces have looked up to over the years, and the examples that he set for everybody in the armed forces especially?
Well, he has given away almost all his property to charity, and he runs a charitable trust which is being run by the Indian Air Force in his name and in his wife's name. And whatever he had got as a Lieutenant Governor of Delhi at one time, he has gifted that to the charitable trust. And also as a personal human, I have had a lot of interaction with him, being one of the officers who have served with him, and I also commanded Ambala, which he was the first Indian officer to have commanded an Air Force station. He has set up many firsts to his credit. He was one of the first to get commissioned in Sandhurst when he was seconded to Royal Air Force, and he graduated from there, from College of Royal Air Force, Cranwell at London. So he has had a large number of firsts to his credit.
Right.
And one can keep speaking about him for ever and ever, and one has a lot of stories to tell.
Right.
One of his famous stories is that he used to fly Canberras, and he never flew with the ejection seat inside the aircraft because his navigator was not on an ejection seat. So he says, if something happens, I will not leave my navigator behind, and which is a very, very creditable thing for anybody to sacrifice his own life for somebody else. So there are a large number of stories about his credits which go to him.
Right.
And in the end, I would like to say that our prayers, mine and my family's prayers, are with him, and we hope he recovers very fast.
And we do so the same. Thanks so much, Air Marshal A.K. Singh, for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Now, of course, Air Marshal Arjan Singh, he spoke exclusively to WION earlier about his various achievements, including the Distinguished Flying Medal during World War I by Lord Mountbatten. Let's listen in.
Mountbatten belonged to the royal family. He had the habit, when he visited an Air Force unit, he just straightway climbed up the aircraft, stand on the wing of the aircraft, and give a speech. And after that, he visited one school. That was in fall. He called me in the dispersal area, gave a speech, and then he called me over there. The Queen has agreed to give me this, Distinguished Flying Cross to you. It's only given from for bravery and accurate fighting. Throughout the period of 1 year, 9 DFCs, including myself. Now that's a record anywhere, even in the Royal Air Force.